generally you see development happening all around you, and that's a good trigger and a good indication that, well, perhaps it's the area's arrived at a time where it's gentrifying, it's changing. The local council and the state government might be spending a lot more money on infrastructure, upgrading roads, building schools, hospitals, that type of thing. These are the types of areas that Peak Property Group typically likes to work in, because the areas are going through change and they're generally seeing a lot more capital growth. They're seeing a lot more new people coming into the market. Families, young families might be moving into the area, and typically they're looking for more affordable, more suitable accommodation. And that could mean, buying a townhouse as their first property instead of buying a property that's on 1,000 square meters with a big backyard. Generally speaking, people who are entering the market are looking for a stepping stone into buying their dream home at some point in the future. On the other side of that, for someone who's got, say, a large property where the kids have grown up, they've moved out of home, they're probably looking to downsize into something that's a bit more smaller and a bit more affordable to kind of release some of the equity that's in their current property so that they can fund their lifestyle and their retirement. That's what we would call, say, an early nester or a downsizer. And they're generally looking to live in areas where it's going through change. There's more infrastructure being created. There's medical precincts that are being invested and developed, and they want to be close to transport and that kind of thing. So, generally speaking, when you're asking yourself the question, could I develop my property, or is my property right for co-development? What's happening around you first is a pretty good indication around whether or not development's right for your property right now. The other thing too is more so considering what's the land size. If you're going to be developing a property, you've got to have some land component. So if you're sitting there and you own a unit or an apartment or a townhouse or something like that, where it's owned by a body corporate, there's common property, there's shared services, and that type of thing, well, there's not much that you can do in the way of a development. But when you're sitting there with a larger land parcel, it might be 750 square meters or 600 square meters or 1,500 square meters or bigger, generally speaking, that land component has got significant value, and there'll be certain metrics that council will determine as to what you can do with that land. And that comes down to the zoning of the land and the planning overlays that are in place, which will sort of create a restriction or a prevention around what you can't do. But effectively speaking, you'll look at what's happening around you first. If there's co-development happening and there's precedence in the area, that's a good tick, that's a good sign. And then we need to look at the next step, which is more so fundamentals around the site itself. And that's when you get in contact with someone from Peak Property Group and sit down and have a one-on-one free 15-minute consultation with one of our experts.